He's an asshole, man, this guy. And the thing is, I didn't even want to talk about this movie when I came in. I did not want to have anything to say about anybody about this movie. Because I fucking loved it, man. You know, this movie.
You're an asshole.
I saw a trailer for this movie a while back, and I was like, no, I'm not into this at all, because this just looks like what other people said when they saw it. It looks like a reverse Driving Miss Daisy. Oh, you get it? This time, the black man is in the back seat, and the white person driving. I'm like, so, what's that supposed to mean? It still looked like some early Oscar race baiting movie. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, that time of year where, okay, what is it this year? Are we gonna make a movie about a mentally challenged person, a gay person, or some race shit? Because, you know, those are the things that the Oscar really loves to see. I don't know what we can learn from this, you know, except, oh yes, all the races can get along once we really get to know each other, because that's what they do, man. That's the cheap thing about these films. It was like, oh, you know what? We're really not all that different once we get on the road and spend about 3 months together. And at the end of the trip, we're all good friends. You know, it seems so false when you do that kind of thing. And another thing is that looking at this, you could have made 2 separate movies about the 2 figures that we have in here. The first one is Don Shirley. Don Shirley, I mean, you could make a movie about him alone. Child prodigy who went on to be a genius of classical piano. Played with the London Philharmonic, the Boston Pops. He played at the White House, I believe. So this, you know, I mean, that's a story within itself. I don't need this false Academy Award baiting race, the Kumbaya movie right here. The other one is Tony Lip. Tony Lip is a story of his own himself. Tony Lip, that's him on the left right there. When he was younger, he was the muscle at the Copacabana bar, who also, at the time, and see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, in this movie, you don't get this detail right here. At the Copacabana, Martin, he also was assigned to pick up all the panties that were thrown at Tom Jones on stage. He was like a pussy janitor. There's an article right there talking about that. Also went on to have a pretty good acting career.
Yeah.
He was in The Pope of Greenwich Village, and also
The Godfather and The Sopranos.
And Sopranos. There he is, Carmine.
Yeah.
Mob boss Carmine. Yeah, so this guy went on to have pretty good life himself. So why do I need to hear this whole thing about him teaming up with this other dude to get him a ride? You know, it just doesn't seem like anything I'd want to see at the moment. Although there is a good little hook right here, being that, you know, this is taking place in 1962, and Don Shirley, for some reason, in 1962, decides to do a tour in the most racist parts of the South.
While Jim Crow laws were still in full effect.
Yes, the Jim Crow tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, why for whatever crazy reason he wanted to do that, I don't know, or maybe I do. Maybe they mentioned it in the movie right here. But he says, you know what? And I'm going to piss these white folks even more. I'm going to get myself a white driver. He was just kind of, it was almost like he did this tour to just troll people. I'm going to fuck with all you white folks down here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Green Book, and we'll be back with our review.
In your music, what you do, only you can do that.
You know, that's another thing with this movie too. Is like, well, they just cast somebody who looked nothing like like this man. They always do this in Hollywood. Y'all saw my picture of Don Shirley right there. Don Shirley just about a light skinned. He's lighter than the curtains back there. In the movie, they just said, well, you know, who's the flavor of the mother Negro? We'll just take this one right here.
Well, they usually do it the opposite way.
What's that?
They usually do it the opposite way.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's just the beginning of my observations here about this, which might not sound very flattering, because when you get right down to it, the movie ain't nothing but a cocktail of tired, predictable formulas right here. And you probably saw about at least 2 of them in this trailer. You know, because it's not 1, it's not 2, but there's 3 formulas that I can see right off the bat that they just put in the blender and just poured this movie out in the cup. First of all, as I said, it's an Oscar bait movie. You know, it's that perfect anti-racism movie that they like. You know, the one where you have the harmless Negro who always speaks nonviolence, so I don't threaten the white folks out there. And you know, they love that sweet Negro right there. Mr. Shirley wouldn't hurt a fly, which means he don't scare us, and that's good for the Oscars right there. It is, in a way, kind of, not completely, but kind of a reverse Driving Miss Daisy, which is a movie that I didn't like when it came out. Didn't understand. Well, for the reason I just said, that's why the Academy liked it, but I didn't understand why it was such a big deal. Also, speaking of Driving Miss Daisy, this thing is a road trip movie. And we know how those work out, especially these types, where you get the 2 guys who are the opposites of each other, and you know, they don't get along, and at the start of the trip, they hate each other, but by the time they get back home, they're the best of friends, Martin. They're just buddies, BFFs. And speaking of being guys who are opposites, that's what this is that formula of 2 guys who couldn't be any more different from each other, thrown together and having to work out their differences. It's The Odd Couple. You know, this the Neil Simon movie, which went on to the TV show. I mean, you know, this is the probably quintessential opposites, characters of opposites movie right here. Right. You know what? If you really want to go deep with this, I mean, if you really want to squeeze out another formula from this, it can even be a romantic dramedy. It even follows the same beats as that. These guys get along. They finally get to a friendship. At one point, they fight. Oh, how are they going to get back together? And it's almost, you can almost see this as insulting, as formulaic as this is. Almost so formulaic to the point of being offensive. Viggo Mortensen is who we have playing Tony Lip. And Viggo Mortensen, you saw from the trailer here. You know, look at even when you can even get stills where he's like, "Hey, that's Italian." Hey, look at. I mean, most of the movie, half of this movie is just one big Italian stereotype. You heard him in there because it's those Italians that like to talk with the bottom lip. You know, hey, boy, you booking my balls? Bada bing, bada boom. Hey, look at it, I was like, oh Jesus, man. You thought, you looking at this, and I was worried about how they're going to portray black people. I was as Italian. I'd be, shit, you might as well put a mustache on one of them and have them jumping over turtles and shit. Forget about it, you know. And they don't make Don Shirley. One of the things I like about him is that they don't make him too sympathetic. Are even likable, but even then, sometimes it seems like they're pushing it a little too far. When Tony Lip went to go talk to him the first time, this brother acting like he's the king of Wakanda. He's looking like the child. He's sitting on a throne,
on a wicker throne,
in his living room,
with spears and African masks behind him, while he's wearing a daishiki sandals.
And I'm surprised that motherfucker have a vibranium suit on.
He probably took off his Panther mask right before.
He's sitting on that throne.
Tony walked in.
It's like, Negro, if you don't get off that throne in your living room, you got a throne where a lazy boy should be. And just looking down on him. What are your qualifications, Tony? And the man is fighting these stereotypes so bad that he's almost being insulting to his own people, to the culture. Because I'm looking at that part where they were eating chicken. And the brother, I'm trying to get to a still right here where he's in the car eating chicken with Vigo, and Vigo with Tony, and he's happy right there in that still right here. But it took him about an hour to warm up to that fried chicken. This man, he was eating this fried chicken like that shit was radioactive. Brother had a drumstick like that shit was poison.
With just the tips of his fingertips. Also with his fingernails. Like,
yeah. Shit, it took him about an hour to take that first bite to get that smile on his face. Shit, these niggas know what they doing. Because before you're like, oh, I don't know about this, Tony. And he's like, eat the fucking chicken.
What's the matter with you?
It's the food of your people. He's also looking at people playing horseshoes. You see that when he was at that hotel?
Yeah.
And man, I would not blame him if they tried to beat his ass, because he sat down in front of his door and just watched them with his nose all up, like, look at these silly Negroes.
Now, yeah, okay, you're reading a lot into this.
Hey, man, you remember they even say, hey, come on, play. And he was like, oh, I'm waiting on someone. I don't want to get my clothes dirty. And they're like, oh, fuck you then, Mr. Fancy Pants over here. This Negro got an education.
Oh, you can't play horseshoes? I've actually never played. I don't want to embarrass myself.
He's an asshole, man, this guy. And the thing is, I didn't even want to talk about this movie when I came in. I did not want to have anything to say about anybody about this movie, because I fucking loved it, man. You know, this movie.
You're an asshole. you did all this to lead up to that, because I was like, all right, this is going to be a fight, because I really love this. It's one of my favorite movies this year.
No, Martin, I had to put that out there to let you know how this movie works against the odds.
It does.
Because I didn't want to say I like this movie. This is like the Forrest Gump of race films. You know what I mean? It's like that movie that critics aren't supposed to like. And even today, you're not supposed to say it in certain circles. And I guarantee you, this movie's going to be that film. It's going to be that movie that I haven't looked at any reviews of this yet.
Well, we'll see. Because like I brought up all these movies that they do every year like this, and I feel like each one gets a little bit more crowd pleasing and predictable and sappy, and to where I'm like, man, they've just taken the teeth off this, and the lead characters, they're always so noble and so good, and how can anybody have anything against them? And I love this with Don Shirley, because yes, he is so himself, so prim and proper, where to the point where it does make it hard to like him, but you like him as a character because he's interesting. But there's that feeling of like, if I knew this guy, he'd probably get on my nerves.
Yeah, no, but see, that's what I liked about it, man. Is that it shows something I've said all the time. These characters that they have here, these characters are, I mean, Don Shirley, not so much. You know, maybe just kind of being a little prissy pants, but like Viggo Mortensen, he is an Italian stereotype, but it goes to what I say. It's all in the writing.
Yeah, it's in the writing and how well the actor plays it.
Sometimes if you put heart in these cliches and these stereotypes, you can actually breathe new life into them. You know, on the outside, this might seem insulting, especially with the stereotypes, but it never comes across as insulting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because as you bring up, the characters are fully realized. On this road trip, you see how different they are, but you get to know them in such a way where I liked spending time with them.
Yes. Yeah, you know,
and them getting into those situations that were dangerous. I'm like, I know this is coming, and I should know that they're going to get out of it. It's going to work out fine, but I still feel bad for them in it.
Usually in movies, why do we like superhero movies? Because they're a team of people who join together to fight something bad, something villainous, and they get each other's backs. That kind of thing works in a lot of things, and it works in this movie because when they get into danger, they really do. That's when you see that they, as much as they've been bickering and going at each other, they really do have each other's backs.
Yeah,
beyond the jobs.
Yeah,
or roles at the end.
Well, especially watching, you want to see your character have some kind of arc or be changed. And when we start this, Tony Vallelongo, Tony Lip, he is prejudiced to the point where if somebody black drinks out of a glass, he throws it away.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Shit, I might turn black if I drink it.
Yeah.
I don't want the black germs. but you know, if in the movie, if these characters were put in there for crass humor, you know, or for cheap laughs, yes, then they would be playing to those stereotypes that would be offensive. But the humor in this movie is nested into the drama.
Yeah.
You know, it tells a story well, which is centering on the friendship. They respect each other, and they get to the point where they protect each other.
And it takes them a long time to really become friends. which is good because so often with this, it's a cheap out where one big thing happens, they have a laugh, and then they're best buddies for the rest of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys bickered for a long time. I mean, there was that feeling like, you know what, they may never come together on this.
It's really at the point, just stop the car and let me out. I'm tired of listening to both of y'all. Both y'all getting on my goddamn nerves right now. Mahershala Ali, first of all.
Oh, you know what? Another thing about just what to say about both these actors, they really transform themselves. 'Cause I've never seen them play roles similar to these before.
That's a great point. Because I've never seen, in fact, I didn't even think Viggo Mortensen would take something like this.
Yeah, he gained the extra 40, 50 pounds for this role.
Yeah. Don Shirley, you look at him and okay, so Tony Lip's a racist. Tony Lip's he's not a very good guy. He's probably done some mob shit and, he's probably done something shady. He's not exactly a good guy. But he's trying to actually do his job, be professional, and this Negro just keeps looking down on him, man.
I know.
Man, look at he's actually looking down on him with his nose through his glasses, with his nose turned up. In this picture right here. Oh, Tony, you silly man. And he sits right behind him. He don't sit on the other side. He don't do that driving his daisy. He sits right behind him and insults him the whole time.
And sometimes the only reason Tony isn't offended because he's too, I don't want to say stupid, but he's too stupid to know he got insulted.
No, Martin, he's stupid.
Or he's just like, I'm going to ignore this because I'm getting paid.
Yeah, Martin, no, he's stupid. Because right when you start feeling bad for Tony will say something. He will say something so dumb, and you can't blame. You can't blame Don for the shit he said. I was like, man, this is too easy, man. Come on.
How is that? Salty. Have you ever considered becoming a food critic?
No.
Dumb. That shit just went over his head.
Yeah, right.
Sarcasm is not in his forte.
Any cook can make things salty. To make it taste good without the salt, we'll just add the flavors. That's the trick. I mean, take the basic ingredients.
We should really get going soon if we expect to get to Pittsburgh by dinner.
Damn, he was making a good point.
He really was. The one time he was being smart. The one time he was being smart. You see where he just cut him off like, oh, I don't need to be bothered with this. And the way he even says his name sometimes, Tony. But then, at that point, if you steer Tony off, once Tony saying smart, Tony will just steer off into the dumbest thing.
I know a guy from Pittsburgh. He called it Titsburg. But he said all the women there had huge tits.
Why would women in Pittsburgh have larger breasts than, say, women in New York?
Guess we'll find out, huh?
He's like, how am I supposed to talk to this dumb motherfucker? He's like, y'all understand that, right? with these feel-good movies that come out, they're just so calculated to make you feel good.
Sure.
Somebody will say that really sweet thing at just the right time so that it is calculated at that moment to just melt our hearts. And it feels fake. And
the strings will swell.
And the strings, yeah, the music will kick in, the strings will swell, and hopefully our eyes will too. And you know what? This movie does the same thing, except, God damn it, it works. They say some of the cheesiest things in this movie, but again, the writing and the delivery of these characters is so great that, I can understand if some people don't buy into it. I did.
I'm starting to get thirsty. You know this is pathetic, right?
I miss her.
Then say that.
Nothing matters to me but you.
Didn't you think at the end of the movie he was going to steal the wife? You wrote those letters? Yes, I did. Tony, I'll be on my way.
So can I put P.S. Kiss the Kids?
A P.S.
Yeah, like at the end.
It's perfect, Tony.
He's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of doing what put whatever you want to.
He's like, well, some of these words should be yours.
Yeah. Shit, draw a smiley face for all the acting is so good in here, man, that even the piano playing, Mahershala Ali, like even the piano playing, when he's acting like he's playing the piano, it's great. Because there was a point where he was playing the piano, and I thought, is this man really, is he this talented? Is he another one of these guys I gotta hate for having so much
honestly,
talent?
just by his acting in this, I was just watching this mesmerized. I was like, this guy can do anything.
Yeah. And that's why I say if he can play the piano, I'm gonna find him and kill him because if he played exceptionally well.
Well, Don Shirley was a virtuoso.
Yeah, exactly. I said that, and it turns out, thank God, it was not him playing the piano. I had to look it up, like on Vulture. You can find the articles here. This is a Vulture article talking about who it was. It was actually a guy named jazz pianist Chris Bowers that is playing the piano in the movie, but. There's a scene where I still don't know how they did it. I don't know if it's CG or what. Like they CG'd this man's hands on Mahershala Ali. But do you remember that scene where he's playing piano and he was hitting the keys like he was actually playing that piece of music?
Yes, I do.
I was thrown back, man. This does feel very Hollywood, almost to the point where these are my real complaints. When you look at this. Production-wise, it's not as slick. You don't get me wrong, especially with the club scenes at the beginning. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really signature about it. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that it is intentionally kind of bright, except when they have to be in the dark. But it's intentionally bright to actually make you feel good while you're watching it in some parts. But I do like the way they work the music in.
Oh, yeah.
To the movie. I thought, sound production as far as weaving the music in was done very well. That, that's an editing thing, I guess. So I really did enjoy that part. My biggest complaint is something that you said, Martin, is that Tony is such a racist. Like he don't even want dishes in the house that black people have touched. Mm. And looking at how he was at the beginning, I thought like the transition he made later in the film, where it took no time. Like for a guy that hated black people so much that he didn't want to even touch them, he didn't have any problems with them really like soon after. I mean, I wasn't convinced that he would be this nice, this agreeable, this kind to this guy after being shown to be such the racist that he was in the beginning. I just thought that he transitioned too quickly.
Yeah, I guess maybe showing that in the beginning was a bit much. Because when he's first, it's saying like, I'm black, white, I don't care about that. It's like, bullshit. What you care about is making this green.
Yeah.
Like he's just lying so he can get this job because he knows what it's going to mean for him.
Yeah.
But over time.
I know he needs to make that money, and they did a good job showing why he needs to make his money. But at the same time, I don't think that he would have been. I think he would have been more resistant to working for a black person. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about like the impression that he has to make it from his boys, because they're like, "Hey, you working for a moolie? What? Come over here. We'll give you a job. Why are you working with that monkey over there?" I thought like he wouldn't want to suffer the embarrassment. I don't think that was convincing in the movie how he went to work for this guy. It was just agreeable right off the bat with that.
No, I wouldn't say that. It took some talking to.
Oh yeah, I guess. I mean,
he was pretty resistant in the beginning.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
I didn't see it. That's where we're going to disagree because I did not see that. But you did. That's cool. I think the biggest surprise though, it was at the end of the movie. Spider-Man popped up. No,
Does he always?
Yes, he always. I was surprised at the end of the movie to learn that. Even before I say this, let me just say this. I think that I really enjoyed this movie more than these type of race films because I think it's putting something out there that a lot of people don't realize. This is a really educational movie for a lot of people, including myself, because I didn't know about this. The Green Book, which is what the movie is named after. I did not know what a Green Book was. I didn't. Did you?
No.
And see, we went in and walked out learning another terrifying chapter in this country's history, which is the Green Book was there to protect black people who had to travel through the South. It showed not only places that would cater to black people or would let them stay, but safe places. And it protected their lives, man, because it warned people about what they call, and this is the shitty part about this country's history right here, sundown towns, where they would just say, and a lot of people still don't even know what that is. Now, I knew what a sundown town was, but it was those were cities that they would tell black people up front, do not be here when the sun goes down on your black ass. And that's what they said. I'm not saying this. The saying was, do not let the sun go down on your black ass in blank, blank, blank. Because there's a possibility, a great possibility, they would kill you.
Yeah.
In the Green Book.
Well, also, yeah, if you were there and the sun, it was after dark and you were black, you were automatically arrested.
Yeah, you were automatically arrested. And some people didn't make it out.
Yeah.
And even this book right here, like the one on the right, that book says, carry your Green Book with you. They say you may need it.
Well, the whole history of that was for so long, black people weren't allowed to travel. They didn't want to travel on public transportation because of, having to sit in the segregated sections. And then suddenly there was a point where black people weren't allowed to buy cars. So then when they were allowed, only black people who had money could buy those cars. And when they could, they were buying them as often as they possibly could. Because they're like, listen, we don't want to be stuck in that racist system. We want to be able to travel on our own. And this book said, okay, now that you're doing that, here's your safety guide.
Yeah,
pay attention to this.
Yeah, you traveling to the South, which is Jim Crow, with Jim Crow laws and segregation. You ever say this is where you can eat, where it was colored only. This is where you can stay, where it's colored only.
This is where you can get gas.
Yep, and the gas usually they would not even serve gas to black people. And if they did serve gas to black people, it was usually said to be an old black man that was the attendant.
Yeah.
And
a lot of places wouldn't work on your car.
Yep, and these books told you where to get the hell out of town. Do not get a flat here.
Yeah.
If you do, run. Leave that car where it is. That's another thing that is beneficial about this film is that it's actually telling you a piece of history that a lot of people, even black people, don't know about. The other surprising thing about this I was about to bring up, at the end of the movie, Martin even heard me. I was like, what? I don't know if anybody knows this guy, Peter Farrelly. Fairly, God damn it, I do that.
I knew you were going to do it too. I was like, he's going to do it.
You should have seen. Why did you let me do that?
Because I got to give you a chance to not do it.
He's like, I got to give myself a chance to make fun of your dumb ass.
Because if I had said fairly, you'd have gone like, I knew.
Yeah, I would have. Shut up, Farrelly. No, which one is it? I really Farrelly. Peter Farrelly.
One of the Farrelly brothers.
Farrelly brother, who you recognize from the name probably from Veracta Maka Mary. I didn't know I had the German post, which translates into "There's something about Mary." Veracta Maka Mary. But also, I was really surprised. I said, I'm done with these people. I do not ever want to see them or their shitty movies out there again because they hurt me. They hurt me with that movie 43. Do you remember this?
That was theirs?
I would think that was theirs. Yeah, I even like the chat. They said, no, anything but movie 43. No.
It could have been inappropriate comedy.
Ooh, he said we would never say that name right here again, Martin. But yeah, man, so it's great to see not only this guy come back with not only a very, very good film, but also something that's usually out of his genre.
Sure.
This is a guy that did comedies. I was really surprised to see him do a drama like this. So, man, look, like I said, I went through that whole thing of putting down the movie before because really that's the kind of movie it looks like. And to a certain degree, it is that kind of movie.
It's funny because I had seen no trailers. I knew barely anything about it other than the description and the press notes when they sent the invitation.
Really?
And I loved it. And then I didn't see the trailer till afterwards. And I thought, man, if I'd seen this trailer first, I wouldn't have been looking forward to this at all.
I do believe that you will want to see this movie again. I want to take my mom to see this. Not only just for her to see it, but I was like, man, I can't wait. I had so much fun watching this film.
I know.
And listen, y'all, there's nothing wrong with walking out of a movie that tries to make you feel good.
No.
Some people go against that so bad, so hard.
People are funny because you hear so often people like, man, I don't want to see that. That's real life. I'm trying to go to the movies to escape that. Then a movie, okay, well here, this will make you feel good. Oh, great. You're just going to pander and make everybody feel good.
Yeah, shit. They pulled his ass out that car and lynched him. And all these critics be like, oh, it's such tragedy, but it's truth. It was one of the most enjoyable times I had in a movie this year. And yeah, I'm giving this a high full price.
Talk about feel good. The movie's slightly over 2 hours, and it was one of those 2+ hour movies that I didn't really want to end because I liked spending time with both of these guys. It is a movie about a very dark subject that is still hopeful. Really, the only problem I had with it is something that I found out recently. I never agree or rarely agree with Black Twitter, but apparently Black Twitter is mad at this movie just because it's not that much about the Green Book. I mean, the title is Green Book, and it does come up ever so often.
What the fuck? To be like a Pixar movie where the book is walking and talking and shit?
But you think about how few times they reference the Green Book, like maybe twice, maybe 3 times possibly. I mean, it's more about these guys. But so with that title, you think the Green Book would play more of a part.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah. And I was like thinking about that. I was like, yeah, I did kind of feel that about it. But that's the only thing. And as far as these kind of movies go, so often through this, I kept thinking, what's right about this is everything that's wrong with Bohemian Rhapsody, in that it's trying to be broad. The characters don't feel real. None of the situations feel real. And with this, I would imagine there's probably a bunch of it that's made up. They didn't have these actual adventures, but you do feel like you get to know these guys, and when it's all said and done, you want to know more about them. It's not encapsulating their whole lives, so it plays to a certain period in time that they can really focus on and have some good, meaningful drama. And then when it's done, it's like, I want to know more about them. And it doesn't depend on you knowing about them to propel itself. Because I'm sure everybody will come into this knowing nothing about either one of them. And yeah, ultimately, I'm like you. I'm like, I really, really want to see this again. It's one of my favorite movies this year.
Yeah.
It's a high full price.
If I was able to go see this at the next screening, because they're having another one, I would actually go. Well, maybe they'll change. It's not out yet. Maybe maybe
Thanksgiving.
No, what's that?
Thanksgiving.
Okay, so maybe
and it's out in small cities, so selected cities.
Well, maybe before Thanksgiving they can release it in with a different title and not make Black Twitter some man. Make it change to "Shut Up, White Man and Drive." Oh, you're stupid, Tony. Thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it so much. And if you like this video, there is a longer form version of this video on our other website, doubletoasted.com, where we live stream these shows almost every night of the week. And of course, if you like this channel, we would like it so much if you subscribe. And remember to always, that's right, stay toasted.